and eyeballs, then you be bragging. Well, I've got enchanted arms, slain the end the dragon. Crying so much, you give your eyes so you die. Terraria's Minecraft CDI. Grab a diamond pickaxe just to break the tension. Lost to survive into the third dimension. This ain't no game. My life's insane. I fought through mobs and awful weather. We just survive all day and night. But tell me who can do it better. Stop the beat! Your house is burning. You just got grief. Wasn't worth the work, and they took your stuff to make it even worse. Try creative mode if you got your feelings hurt. I'm a demon hunter and adventurer, so my inventory isn't full of dirt. I got a jetpack on, so who needs armor? You're an FPF, first-person farmer. Oh, I'm getting grief, yeah, that sure blows. Release MC has a feast online mode. Don't need a store to put this man to shame. I mean, only old creepers been playing your game. Yeah, in my world, I am a god. Well, in your game, you can't even mod. Last time you went outside, I'm thinking never. Whether you down, take it to the nether. This ain't no game. My life's insane. I fought through mobs and awful weather. We just survive all day and night. But tell me who can do it better. Three dimensions. I only need two to be awesome. Please, your game cell's been irrelevant since '96. Take a seat, dude. Oh, you don't have furniture. Even Roblox is better than you. Well, at least I didn't sell out to Microsoft. Well, at least Microsoft was interested in me. Oh yeah? Well, Terraria's the greatest survival game ever. Step back or I'll steamroll ya. Don't mess with this side scroller. Multiplayer's overrated when all your servers do is cause a hole. Don't got no friends with me. My friends are NPCs. I can't wait for Minecraft to drop dead. After all, you and your friends are blockheads. A block joke, huh? That's never been said. That's as original as your game concept. Step up to the mic, I become aggressive. I've seen a rip-off, still unimpressive. Know that you'll never test me again. This is like a wooden play against the city, and the sun has set, so I guess I'll retire. Done roasting this pig over my fire. This ain't no game. My life's insane. I fought through mobs and awful weather. We just survive all day and night. But tell me who can do it better.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Steve versus the Terrarian cast. I am Duck Lore, and with me today we have Nightfall, who will be debating for Steve, and we have Noah, who will be debating for the Terrarian, and we also have Kaja however you say it.
Thank you.
who pitched Steve versus the Terrarian to the team. And we also have Moloch and Vermiliato. Yeah.
Close enough.
Say hi. I said say hi.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
everybody.
So, anything you want to say before the cast starts?
Yes. Okay. Hello, my name is Nightfall. You may know me by my terrific Terracraft art. Sherm, if you could pull that up. Nightfall art.
You gotta have the self plug, man.
Yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta put the self plug. I'm trying to make a name for myself.
This awesome art that I made.
This art that I made. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
So before we get things rolling, there's a few caveats for a matchup like this. So Steve and Terrarian can both revive infinitely according to their lore. So for this battle, we are taking into consideration that they're both going to be on hardcore mode. There's no creative mode, no journey mode, straight up survival mode for both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
All right. So, who wants to? Do we do rundowns on Fan Battlecast? Do we want?
We do the 60 seconds. Yes.
All right. Yeah. Who wants to go first then?
I'll let Noah go first.
All right, Mr. Noah Green.
Okay, let me know when I'm going. Oh, no, I just start talking. That's right. Yeah. What is there to say? I am representing the Terrarian. They are the hero of the world, being led by the Order of the Guide to stop the dread Cthulhu from destroying the reality. And I think that they are a lot faster than Steve, a lot stronger than Steve, and they just bring a lot more to the table. They have a lot more experience in fights. They have a wider arsenal. I think basically any metric you can gauge it by, the Terrarian can pull ahead. I don't know if I used the full 60 seconds there, but this isn't really a particularly involved character to talk about, but I just think they have enough to take the win here.
Okay, all right. Pretty solid, pretty solid. Nightfall, do you have something for us?
Yeah, let me know when I'm going.
Just go whenever you're ready, I guess.
All right, Steve, the world crafter, protector of villages, and destroyer of the Ender Dragon. He is much more stronger, might not be as fast or have the biggest arsenal, but he does have enough to contend with the Terrarian. He has the better arsenal. He has more defensive options to keep him in the fight longer than the Terrarian. He has win cons to instantly kill the Terrarian. And I just overall think that he has the better chance of coming out of this battle unscathed. I doubt that was 60 seconds, but also there's not much character to go.
Yeah,
go on.
they don't really like.
No,
You can't really give like
this
in the
is
beginning. Like,
Steve.
Okay.
Oh yeah, also he's played by
Um,
Jack Black, so that's
True.
another thing.
Yeah, Jack
Okay.
Black's pretty great.
Yeah, so from my understanding, in order for Steve to win, he's got to mine and craft. So let's mine craft.
Okay, so just looking at this debate, I know we're gonna get a lot. We're gonna do a lot more than just this, but I guess for the sake of ramping up, Nightfall, do you want to quick go over what base Minecraft gives Steve before we go off the wall here?
Sure. Okay, so first off, let's get into strength. Steve can contend with the Ender Dragon, who can destroy a cubic meter. I think either a cubic or 2 cubic meters of netherite, which Noah himself count to be around 13 kilotons of TNT. And Steve, also with the right setup, can instantly kill anything with the brand new mace that came out in last year's update. And as for speed, if Sherm, could you pull up Warden 1?
Oh, we're getting the warden in here. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm acting like as if I don't already know. It's fine, but-
Okay, so here you can see from the official Warden song animation from the Minecraft Live event in 2022. The Warden shoots his Sonic Blast, and Steve and Alex are running. Warden 2, please. Steve, you can see Steve and Alex are both looking directly at the blast that's coming for them. And Warden 3.
Okay.
Steve and Alex jump out of the way and dodge it. So base Minecraft should at least be subsonic. And if they amp themselves up with the speed boost potion, it would get them much faster. About 3 times as fast, I believe. So there's that. As for defense, Steve and Alex's armor can keep them in the game for quite a while. I don't have an exact calc for how much they can tank, but if they can tank direct hits from the Ender Dragon, once again, that's at least 13 kilotons, plus the damage reduction from Netherite and Diamond.
Okay, all right. Noah, do you want to go ahead and give your like kind of lower end stuff here?
In terms of like low end stuff, I didn't bring scans for the lower end stuff, but there are a lot of weapons in Terraria and effects that can like destroy large amounts of material. There are like you can make like giant explosions, which you can just tank. There are a lot of like light attacks you can dodge and interact with. Again, most of the scans I brought were for like the real debate stuff. I don't have too many lower end stuff like to show. But there are a lot of like the same sort of things where like can tank attacks that can destroy the terrain, can keep up with sound and light attacks, all that sort of stuff.
Okay. All right. Yeah, makes sense.
I got a
Um,
Sorry, I got a good question in the chat from Gilded Data asking what enchantments Steve's armor would have. Now we know there are limitations to what kind of enchantments you can have, so I would just say the best ones, protection, feather falling, stuff like that. We can go further in, but in case for a battle like this, similar to Chosen Born, we'd probably give them everything. So
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
And
I
then
guess you'd probably just bring them up when necessary.
yeah, we're gonna get into one specific enchantment
later
much
on.
much later, and I think most people know what enchantment that is, and it'll be very fun. But for the sake of this fight, I think a lot of people come into this expecting Terraria to be on a much higher scale than Minecraft, which is true if you only include base Minecraft. But the fun thing about Minecraft is that there's actually lore, and these spin-off games are pretty much what make this argument. So Nightfall, would you like to go into the spin-off games here?
Gladly, Sherm. Same universe one, please. So here you can see the official Minecraft channel uploaded video called the Minecraft Triple Bundle. And underneath you can see it's saying step into a blocky universe. Now people have been arguing whether these spin-offs are canon or not for the longest time. Dungeons seems to be more accepted. Legends, due to one person statement who worked on the team, he originally said, "Oh, it's a legend," but that's not really the case when you get into the game itself. There's a lot of evidence to show that this connects into base Minecraft, and there's literal cutscenes with a certain entity from Minecraft Dungeons, which connects these two games. So, all in all, same universe. I hope that makes sense. We'll get further into it later on. Further to explain my point, Sharon, please pull up Dungeons, Steve. As you can see, Steve is a playable hero in Dungeons. He should scale to the rest of the cast, even though technically in canon, 4 different heroes went on this journey. Steve can still go on the journey. He can still fight with all the weapons and armor, and he can scale to all the bosses. So he should count. Same with Alex. And then for Legends 1, please.
Okay,
Or
can I,
Legends Steve. Yeah.
if I may interrupt, are we sure that's Steve and not just a skin?
Yeah,
They're
I
labeled.
can actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you want to, you can.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, in Dungeons, it is they are referred to as heroes and not skins. That's a very important thing because Alex is also there. There is another Minecraft character that we'll get into later that is also in Dungeons, and they are referred to as heroes. And Steve, of course, is referred to by name in game and promotional material.
Okay, great.
Makes sense.
All right, so in here we can see the cutscene in Minecraft Legends when the 3 hosts are looking for a hero to bring back to help them save the overworld. And as you can see with the arms, that is clearly Steve. Legend Steve 2, please. The thing with Legends is they never show the main hero's face. Even in the box art, they're shaded out. But as you can see in this cutscene, well, they're saying that his bravery and creativity inspired them to seek their aid because their world is under attack. Clearly, these 3 gods who created the overworld, it's explicitly stated they created the overworld, can't do it on their own, so they need to bring Steve in. And the armor of the default character, I don't have an image. I can probably pull that up later. His whole body is covered, but he's wearing Steve's purple pants, and he has blue eyes similar to Steve. So clearly they're explicitly covering Steve so they don't explicitly try to intertwine everything, if that makes sense.
I have a question.
Yeah.
And you cannot answer this if this ties into anything later, but are the guys that made the overworld, are they the guys that are talking at the end of Minecraft in the credits?
That's a good question. See, there's only two of them that are talking at the end. So
I can
we
answer
don't.
that.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
They are not, and it's
Oh.
important to note that the hosts in Minecraft Legends like shaped the overworld. That's the specific way they word it. But the two beings that speak in the end poem at the end of Minecraft are very clearly like beyond that realm. Like they specifically refer to the player themselves and stuff from our real world. They aren't they clearly aren't the hosts. Like they'd have to be a level beyond that.
I see. Okay.
It'd be cool if they were. I mean, that'd be neat.
Yeah. So these spin-offs give Steve a bunch, and we could go into that later, but I think we should let Noah probably get some words in.
Yeah. Tell you what, I can get the ball rolling in terms of power because we've established why spin-offs are usable. I don't really have spin-offs. I'm just sticking to main Terraria because there really isn't anything else for Terraria. But I think even just normal Terraria is more than enough. Can we bring up? Let's start with Luna. Can we bring up Luna? So this image alone doesn't provide the full context. What's going on here? You fight a bunch of bosses called the Celestial Pillars, and when you're fighting them, they pull like planets in the background into the foreground, just like over this course of like a second. Just completely move these planets into the foreground to the point where they're like taking up a big chunk of the sky. And Terrarian can obviously keep up with these things, beat these things. So that'd be a massive amount of power on display right there. And so yeah, the power to move like planets like that would be at minimum it would be large planet because one of those planets does have like rings to it. And to follow up on that, can we bring up monoliths? So these are items you can make to do the same thing as the pillars. They're decorative things that replicate the effect. They again can pull the planets down, and they're specified to only have a small amount of power from the pillars. So the power to like drag these whole planets down to the world in a second is just like a tiny amount of the power that these things are working with, and the Terrarian can just completely dismantle them.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Does it change depending on like? Because I know from Terraria there are like different kind of builds, like the summoner and the warrior and stuff like that. And I know the monoliths are kind of based off that. So does it like change depending on the kind of weapon the Terrarian's using?
No, you fight all four pillars. Each pillar embodies a different class. Vortex is range, Nebulous magic, Stardust is summoning, Solar is melee, but they all spawn in. You have to destroy all of them. So any build will fight all four of these things at some point.
Okay.
Okay. Nightfall. What do you got for power here?
All right, we're gonna have to buckle in here because power, when it comes to these spin-offs, gets a bit crazy. Sherm, if you could pull up Orb of Dominance, please.
What?
So this is known as the Orb of Dominance, the main antagonist of Minecraft Dungeons, and plays a huge role in Minecraft Legends. Even though it's not an orb, I get it. It's Minecraft. It's cute. Okay, it's a cute. But the orb is literally a cosmic entity that's disguised itself and has been transported into the overworld and has been slowly building power over years. It whispered into this illager's head named Archie and made him take over the overworld using its grand power. And eventually it got so No, first we're gonna go into the beacon. So, Sherm, if you could pull up sun freezing, please.
Oh, here we go.
No, I've never heard of this.
No, never. So the orb of dominance imbued some of its power into a beacon, turning it into a corrupted beacon, also known as the night beacon. And they placed it on top of this portal and this crown, and it blasted a beam into the sun that only took 3 seconds, by the way, which the piglins scale to because they react to it. And so then Steve upscales to that, so their speed for you. This thing from Noah's end is 14 times the speed of light. And so once it hits the sun, it freezes the sun. Now, here's where we get into some tricky situation. Could you pull up Cube Earth, Sherm?
Cube Earth.
They say the Earth is flat. Well, I say it's a cube.
That probably would be the next step evolution of that, wouldn't it? If it's not
Yes.
flat, then it must be a cube.
So as you can see here, people always like to debate whether Minecraft's planet is an Earth or if it's flat because, you know, the overworld in game is flat. However, in game there is multiple pieces of evidence to show that the Earth is a cube, such as the banner literally titled globe, or the cartography table that has a globe in it. And then there's a picture of the Minecraft Earth from the official Minecraft channel from one of the episodes of How We Make Minecraft. So there's 3 pieces of solid evidence to imply that the Earth is a cube.
Sun disk.
Yes, it's a sun disk. We're getting into sun disk territory.
Hang
here.
on, what?
The sun disk.
Sun,
I'm scared by
Wait, hold on.
Omni-Man scaling.
Sun disk.
yeah, Steve gets Omni-Man scaling confirmed.
Yeah, but
Ew.
the fact that they keep calling it globe, doesn't that speak to the fact that people in Minecraft are like delusional as to what a shape is?
It could
Oh,
be.
globe.
Yeah, that brings me to my next point. Steve is stupid and doesn't know what a globe is.
Fair.
Hey,
That's
don't
not actually
insult
a point,
my
continue.
boy, the Nether.
Another. And so here comes to the next big thing, because people have been arguing whether this is the sun freezing or it makes a literal fucking sun disk shaped moon in front of the sun, which doesn't make any sense. If you could pull up 2 suns, number 1, and I'll let Kajavajik start talking about it since he's the one who came up.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you under the bus, but this is your
No,
thing.
I got it. Okay. So here's the deal, right?
Oh my god.
In that cutscene, and we unfortunately we don't have a clip, I don't believe, of the what happens after the beam is retracted. But so in the cutscene, the beam hits the sun turns to stone, and then after you finish that level, the beam is retracted and the planet whips back around. It rotates, and then the sun rises from the horizon. Now, if you're keeping up with anything here, you gotta ask, if the sun was turned into the moon, then why the hell is the sun now on the other side of the planet for the planet to rotate and then the sun to rise?
Yeah, 2
Like
suns, please. 2 suns, number
yeah.
2.
Well, I got like so many things I gotta go over.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my lord. Okay, so look, here's the dealio, right? There used to be 2 suns. The Minecraft world used to have 2 suns. And this is like the most conspiracy theory thing I think I've ever made, ever. But essentially, here's how this goes. In Minecraft Legends, which is the earliest point in the Minecraft timeline, before the night beacon cutscene, we never see nighttime at all. We never even see a sunrise or a sunset. Every single cutscene that happens prior to the night beacon is set in the daytime. But after the night beacon cutscene, the missions in Minecraft Legends switch back and forth between daytime and nighttime for the rest of the game. I believe I counted 5 nights, 5 nights at Steve's potentially. That the game takes place over.
Freddy's. That's where I want to be. 5 Nights at Freddy's.
So this is kind of a weird thing in that, like, if we don't see nighttime at all prior to the night beacon, is it possible that the night beacon literally invented the concept of night. And this is actually backed up by the hosts. We mentioned the 3 hosts earlier that shape the overworld. Those hosts are Knowledge, Foresight, and God, I can't remember the other one, but he doesn't matter right now. Knowledge,
Okay, I guess.
yeah, I mean, like he does not matter to the sake of this. After the night beacon is taken down and the world rotates and the sun rises again, Knowledge says the world has changed, or there's something along those lines, and then Foresight says in more ways than we know. See, now this is such a weird comment to make because at this point nothing had changed. The night beacon was deactivated. Its effects were reversed. So why would they make the comment that the world has changed in more ways than we know? It's such an odd thing to say, unless of course you believe that the night beacon literally created the concept of nighttime. Now I can go into the diagram. Okay. So this is what the planet looked like prior to the night beacon firing. There were 2 suns on either side of the planet, and nighttime just straight up did not exist. Now I believe the second image is 2 suns 2 or something along those lines.
Yes. 2 suns, 2 blaze.
Great name.
Yes, I know. In this one, we see the beacon fires, and one of the
Holy
suns
shit.
is turned into stone, and now 2 suns 3, I assume.
Yes.
What happens is the planet rotates, and now the sun rises. This is the only way to actually explain what's going on in that cutscene. The cutscene is just so weird. The sun is turned into stone, but then all of a sudden, the sun is actually on the other side of the planet. It doesn't make any logical sense unless we assume that there are 2 suns. It is the only explanation to explain that cutscene.
Speaking of the cutscene, planet rotating, I forgot to put that in. Cash is going to kick.
Oh, we
my
have
ass for it.
that?
Yeah, we have that. I just forgot to.
Oh,
Oh, let me see that. Oh,
okay. I didn't expect
Whoa.
there to be audio. Yeah, so this is when the night beacon gets weird.
oh, this is actually fire.
Oh yeah, I love the cutscenes in Legends. They're very fun, even though the game is kind of. Okay, so the night beacon is shut down, but the moon does not turn back into the sun. It has sunlight for some reason, which implies that a sun exists somewhere to give it sunlight. And then we watch the sky rotate,
The moon
and
haunts
from the
me.
horizon rises the sun. So this is my overall point, is that the sun was turned into the moon, and yet the sun rises and the moon never turns back into the sun, which does not make any sense unless there were 2 suns. And of course, because we never see nighttime prior to this, and this is the earliest point we've ever seen in the Minecraft timeline, it can be reasonably inferred, as dumb as it sounds, that there were most likely 2 suns. Thank you.
I'm not gonna lie, that's actually super fire. But I also have a headache.
Yeah, it gets
Yep,
really
that's
in
fair.
depth. And I want to include that, yes, it is indeed freezing. It makes a freezing crackling noise when it hits the sun. It's freezing. It's not transmutation. I'm tired of this argument.
Yeah, Noah, do
well-
you mind if we do one more thing here?
Sir?
Is that cool? Okay. Nightfall, what is the image for the frozen biome?
Yes. We have evidence to back this up. What's it called? Freezing proof. Pull up freezing proof.
Wonderful. Oh, we have Wretched Wraith.
Oh, that's Wretched Wraith 1. Still gets the point across, but
Okay, here we go. Yeah. So the debate that I have seen quite often, we've seen this, a lot of us have seen this a lot, is the sun actually being frozen or is it being transmutated? The simple explanation here is that the Orb of Dominance has never shown the ability to transmutate, but it has shown the ability to freeze. Just a shard of the Orb of Dominance, when the orb was defeated the first time in dungeons, the orb is shattered and all of its shards spread to different biomes, and that's what the DLC is. In one of those DLC expansions, a shard of the Orb of Dominance freezes this entire island, And it also states that the winter could spread to the entire world. And that is just a shard of the orb being able to cause that much thermal energy to freeze an entire biome and potentially the planet. So the idea that this beam could be freezing the sun rather than just plain transmutation actually makes more sense with the abilities that we've seen from the Orb of Dominance. And if that is the case, then we can calculate how powerful it is using thermal energy. And that is what our good friend, I don't know if you've heard of him, his name is Noah Green. And
Howdy
he
ho.
actually,
Wait, who's
he
that
did
guy again?
that. Yeah, he's the guy that's going to lose this debate.
Oh, silly me.
Oh my god.
And he calced it to be star level. So we are looking at star level Steve from the sun being frozen here. And then there's also the fact that when the beam is retracted, we can see that the moon has a glossy texture on it, which sort of implies that it's ice and that it's being frozen. But yeah, essentially, it is more likely freezing because it is an actual power that the orb has shown, which it has never shown transmutation to stone. Thank you.
Okay, I do see a comment from Robot saying it has transmuted blocks, but however, from what I remember reading of the story, it like pulled ores from the blocks to make the staff, and I think it literally just has creation feats where it created the castle. It created a bed and food for Archie, so I don't think it's transmutation. I think it's creation. So there's that. Okay, no, you
Okay,
can
wonderful.
talk now.
Okay, so cool. So firstly, with the sun freezing thing, I do agree that it's freezing, but I think you can definitely argue that Steve just doesn't scale to this. The Orb of Dominance corrupted the beacon that shot the sun, but the piglins needed to hook it up to another portal to actually give it the power it needed.
Oh,
And
no,
once it's
not this.
disconnected from the portal, it stops working. But even without that, can we bring up sun? Because you're right, I did calculate this, but I made one oversight in that calculation, and that's that the Minecraft sun is actually really tiny.
No, I knew he
No,
was
no.
Let's go.
Incorrect.
Oh, this is crazy.
Incorrect.
Okay,
This is actually nasty work. I love this.
let me just
for the
pull out my
record-
ruler and see.
For the record,
exactly-
this is from an exclusive skin from Minecraft Earth, as you'd expect. I don't think it's much to say that this image can't be used for the scale of the actual sun, because this is supposed to be a skin that you play as in a video game. But for the sake of being able to literally see the screen, they had to shrink the sun down.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, can we bring up Nebula?
Oh,
Oh no.
Oh no, it's time.
let me see this.
I have been
This
feeling
one feels pretty
this.
self-explanatory. This is a crafting material you can get. You make weapons out of it, you make armor out of it, you make a lot out of it, and it's just explicitly stated to have the power of the galaxy. Like verbatim, power of the galaxy.
Okay,
Done.
nebulas are much smaller than a galaxy. I don't see how those two things correlate. I think the author of the Tooltips is just saying nonsense.
I
Yeah,
think it was off his meds
perhaps.
at the time.
I suppose it is now time for the tooltip discussion. So here's the thing about tooltip. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, before we move on from this, I just want to the Orb of Dominance. How does Steve scale to that if we take it at face value and it freezes? stuff?
Okay, so if we could pull up Heart of Ender,
Steve kills the thing. He kills it twice.
he kills it twice.
All right, but
Yeah.
does that necessarily does he meet its power head on, or is it more like in
Yes.
He-Man when he crushes the emerald and it's
No, I mean he
So this
literally
is-
fights the thing. He gets hit by the lasers and he survives.
Alright,
This is
Like, it's
the
literally the
Yeah.
boss.
This is
Okay.
the final boss of base dungeons. The Orb of Dominance turns into this, the Heart of Ender, and Steve fights it heads on, beats it. Archie breaks it, and that's when we get the shards. And then if you could pull up Vengeful Heart of Ender, this is the boss at the end of Dungeons' DLC, where it's a perfected form. Like, it's perfect form, and it's in the end. We didn't state this before, but the orb was always weakened because it wasn't in the end. It was in the overworld. So everything that it's done so far in the overworld, from its weakened state to its entirely weakened state when it's shattered, this is the perfect full-on power of the Vengeful Heart of Ender, which might
I'm not gonna
just
lie,
be a
this
part
is
of
so
another entity called Ender, but we won't get into that because we don't have much evidence about that. So Steve kills this thing and defeats it for good, and that's how he scales.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
do
because I-
have actually. I'm sorry. I do have one more thing to throw in, but you can go first if you want.
No, I just wanted to, because having not played this game or knowing anything about it, I just saw, in front of me, they went like into it, and there was like a weak spot, like a crystal, and he just crushed it. But okay, there was an actual fight, and that was mostly what I
Yeah.
wanted to clear out.
He straight up fights the thing, and then I do have one last thing to bring up, and just for the sake of it, the Minecraft movie came out today, and
Hang on. Someone in chat earlier did ask for no movie spoiler stuff.
Oh,
Oh,
wait, hold
crap.
on. I got
Okay.
something really cool. There's a character in the movie called General Chungus.
That's true. There's General Chungus.
General
General
Chungus.
Okay.
Chungus.
Trust me,
I
you
was
can
I
watch
was
the
gonna
movie. It's real.
I was gonna put a spoiler warning over it, but if we want to avoid it entirely, that's fine.
Let's just say that even without the movie spoiler, it kind of coincides with the game. Steve can take a hit from the. You can take multiple hits from the Vengeful Heart of Ender without armor, so it directly scales to his base durability.
You can spoil it. It just makes you that guy. Well,
All right,
I'm gonna
I'll
avoid
be
that.
the sacrificial lamb. I'll introduce all the spoiler stuff.
That's Steve Twerks, I guess.
Yes, he does.
But yeah, point is, even without the movie, yeah, Steve straight up boss fights and beats the Heart of Ender twice, the Orb of Dominance, and he also directly tanks lasers from the thing. He does straight up scale to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, and
Okay. Tooltips, right? I forgot.
That's still not the power of the galaxy, so
Right. So, okay, tooltips. So, tooltips in Terraria are like little item descriptions that a good amount of the items in Terraria have. And the really funny thing about tooltips in Terraria is that they're known to exaggerate like a lot. And I don't have scans of them, but I do have a couple examples off the top of my head. Number one, there is an item, one of the souls that you can get from just a regular old boss claims to be the power of an omniscient watcher, which, like, no, it's just a boss. Iker, which you get from the Moon Lord, if I'm not mistaken, is called a pebble from the heavens, another exaggeration. There's the, Luminites that. Yeah, Luminite is the pebble from the heavens. Iker is blood of the gods, which the Moon Lord is not a god. And then there's the volcano, which is claimed to be a sword made of fire, which it just isn't. There's multiple big examples of tooltips being what we like to call an unreliable narrator. And with that in mind, saying that this fragment has the power of galaxy is so far beyond what the in-game stuff we see from the Terrarian is that it can be inferred that it is also exaggeration. In fact, another tooltip has something similar to that, which is, of course, the solar fragment, which it claims to have the fury of the universe, which like what is that? Like that
It's
that
a
is
little
nothing.
angry.
Fury's not yeah, it's angry. Like that's not an actual measurement, and none of the other fragments have anything similar to the power of a galaxy comment, which further backs that it's most likely exaggeration.
I'm gonna come back to that. I'm going to touch on speed, but I haven't talked about speed yet. As I said, there are a lot of like light attacks you can dodge. One of the big things as well is there's an event called I I think it's either Motion Madness or Motion Invasion. I think it's technically Motion Madness, but it's called Motion Invasion. Where you like a probe sees you and the probe flies away, and then like a second later, immediately it's like motions are invading and a bunch of UFOs come down. And assuming they came from Mars, which given they're called motions, I think it's a fair assumption that gets like massively faster than light to actually come here in this time frame.
Okay,
But in
how can
terms
you
of
assume that Martians are coming from Mars? That's kind of racist.
Thank
don't
you.
Think?
Are
damn,
you serious?
wow. But
Look,
in
this
terms
is
of
heavy assumptions that we cannot have in Fan Battle Cast. I'm sorry, Noah. You've been voted out.
unfortunate.
Oh
In
my
terms
God.
of the galaxy, the power of the galaxy, there's another event, one event here called the Old One's Army, which is a bunch of entities from it's both a crossover and not, because it is technically a crossover with Dungeon Defenders 2, but it's also just in the game. It's not like extra content or anything. It's just a hard-baked part of Terraria, a thing that happens in the game. Where you fight the Old One's army, and the Old One, who's like the big bad of all this, is really. Can we pull up Dimension?
I mean,
So-
you could have
so
let
can
us
we-
get our speed feed in. I guess we did get our speed feed in.
You
Never
did. You
mind.
talked
We
about
did
your
do
speed
it.
feed already.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, we did. talk
Yeah,
about
so
it.
this is a bit from Dungeon Defenders 2. This is the pocket dimension that the Old One sustains, and as you can see, there is just straight up a galaxy in it, and the Old One just has that going. Now, in the Old One's Army event, the Terrarian does not fight the Old One themselves. However, as part of this thing, one of the NPCs from Terraria, the Dryad, got sent to Dungeon Defenders, and they can fight there. And the Terrarians would massively scale above just this random Dryad. So, on its own, I do think it's like, do we accept this? But I think this combined with the whole like power of the galaxy thing, I think there is a consistent level of cosmic power on this scope. And even checking the official lore notes, because Terraria does actually have official lore, believe it or not. Can we pull up Terraria?
Nice name.
Yeah.
Where do they come up with it?
So, Terraria in the lore documents is consistently it is a universe. It consistently says here, living worlds were created and now exist within the Terraria universe. And this is important. Can we pull up Fabric? So this is Cthulhu, when they talked about final boss of Terraria and all that, explicitly putting all of Terraria, which is again the universe, on the quote precipice of doom. So between the power of the galaxy, the one's only thing, and then the final boss explicitly being stated to be like threatening to doom the universe, there's very clearly a massive cosmic scale going on with Haikyuu stuff in this game.
Nice. That's
Nice.
really impressive.
Yeah. Too bad
job.
when it comes to the Terrarian fighting the Moon Lord. The Moon Lord isn't even at full strength. He cannot. It's literally stated in the lore that the Moon Lord cannot destroy Terraria, and Terraria is what the world is called, not the universe, the world. His body's literally cut in half. He has a bunch of cybernetic implants because most of his skeleton was blown up from the Dryads. He does.
You continue.
Yeah, he's not. What I'm saying is he's not at full power, and the Terrarian can't scale to that.
So the lore does say that after the universe threatening stuff, the Moon Lord or Cthulhu, it's the same entity, was crippled to the point where he couldn't threaten the world and needed to recover for launching another attack. Can we pull up damage? Yes.
The world of Terraria, the world itself, you said he couldn't. The Moon Lord could not destroy it, but the previous scan,
After he got weakened, the scan I showed, he was threatening the universe, and then the big battle happened. He got crippled, and he couldn't do that anymore. And he had to leave to get better and come back later, after he returned to power.
But the point I'm trying to make is Nightfall brought up the world of Terraria, the actual planet. But the first scan you had, Terraria, said the world of Terraria?
It said that countless worlds were created within the Terraria universe. The lore notes are kind of weird. At one point, they do refer to Terraria as if it's the planet, but in basically every other instance, Terraria is referring to the universe. In the first scan I saw, obviously, it explicitly says the universe of Terraria, which...
Yeah, because I feel it is an important distinction to make, because if Terraria is just a planet, that's obviously much less than if Terraria is the entire universe.
Yeah, it's actually not the planet, because when you start up a new world, you name the world, obviously. You call it whatever. Let's say you call the world Bob. A world called Bob. And this is actually the name of the planet you have in that instance, because the corruption and the crimson and whatnot that spreads throughout the world, if you talk to the Dryad can tell you how much of the world they've corrupted, and it will explicitly use the name of the world itself. So Terraria is the universe, and then the individual worlds in the universe are the individual worlds you name, obviously. But in this scan, if we want to full screen it again quickly, so can we? Yeah, thank you. So this is talking about the Dryads crippling him, weakening him, all that stuff, and they say that the damage he took, he lost his eyes, part of his skeleton, and chunks of his brain, and with that damage done, he was unable to threaten the world. He had to fall back, get better, come back later. By the time you fight him again, can we pull up Lord?
You're not calling him by his government name?
As you can see, he has eyes, he has a brain, and he's still missing part of his skeleton, admittedly. But he has the eyes and the brain back, and he has enough of his skeleton back to beat the shit out of you. So he has gotten substantially better from the point he was weakened at when you fight him.
Right, but that doesn't actually give us proof as to how strong that, because not only is he's still missing part of his skeleton, but he's also missing the entire bottom half of his body. And this is backed up by the cosmetic item in Terraria called Moonlord legs, that are literally the Moonlord's legs that the Moonlord drops sometimes when you kill him.
But
Wait, so he has his legs on him, and yet he just doesn't have he doesn't wear them? What the fuck?
Yeah. See, the Moonlord's also an idiot, so we can't use intelligence against Steve.
Oh my god.
But the point here is that it's hard for us to definitively say where the Moonlord scales at the moment, because the most we have here is that at full power he threatened the universe, and after he was weakened, he was no longer a threat to the world.
But you know who is a threat to the world? Sherm, can you pull up Mobo 1?
Oh no, we're doing this now.
Yeah.
We're doing
Oh
this.
my
Really?
god. Mabo.
He's eating the
Mabo.
planet. It's as big as his teeth. Look at that. This is Mabo. He's from the official Minecraft animated series, How We Make Minecraft. He's an entity created by a disgruntled Mojang employee that can go to and from the Minecraft realm to the real world. He can throw up lava. He can mess with the game's code. Actually, if you can pull up Sherm, Mabo, I believe it's Mabo 4.
There's 4 of them now.
How many Mobo images do you have?
We got 5. Well, no, 6.
Why?
So, and then they get hungry. Mabo eats your save files. Mabo 5, please.
Okay, but Steve can't do that.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
guess
wait for
what?
it, wait
Guess
for it.
what?
Just wait for it.
Just wait for it. So first, Mabo is eating your save files. It continues until the entire thing is gone. Mabo Canon. Sure, Mabo Canon.
Oh, here it goes.
Mobo is a playable character in Minecraft Dungeons, and Steve can scale to him through that. So we got a planetary
no.
threat, which backs up the other feats.
He could
This still
even
doesn't.
eat world. Wait, the worlds contain like
Yeah.
even entire stars and moons. So
See, yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Minecraft's Earth, because of its size, and if we go based off of how big the overworld is that you can explore, the entire cube of Minecraft's Earth would be 200 times the size of our Earth. So even though we don't know what size the sun is, if we want to, we can upscale it from that. So the sun feet could get much bigger if you take that into consideration. And Mabo is literally eating the planet, so there's that too.
This still doesn't stack up to the fact to Terrarian just being massively faster, and the whole, power of a galaxy thing.
Ooh, is it my
Steve
turn?
has well, I want to talk about how he can stop speed first, but
Sure,
if
go
you
ahead.
yeah, so Steve has options to get around the Terrarian speed. He has the corrupted binds, I believe they're called, which can trap him in place, or the enchantment known as chains, where you can chain Terrarian and some of his summons in place for about 3 seconds. And he also has tempo theft, which wouldn't work because Ankh Shield, but it could steal half of Terrarian's speed if he was stupid enough to not have the Ankh Shield on him. So,
Also, he'd need to hit Terrarian first, which is very hard to do given the massive speed differential.
well, Steve is also so tanky that any damage the Terrarian would be able to do to him would not work. And we could get into further scaling in a bit, but I'm gonna let Kajavaji talk.
Yeah, okay. So, one option that you forgot to mention was Gravity Pulse, which is an enchantment that pulls mobs to you. It does not require something to be hit. You can just pull
Ter-
mobs to you.
Terrarian can invert the direction of gravity.
True.
Now he's
It
getting
can
now he's
inverse
going
the
further
world's
away.
gravity. We only see it ever increase the flip the world's gravity. But even if we want to go into that, I think talking other items for Steve is probably important. Stuff like the love medallion, which in Minecraft Dungeons causes mobs to fall in love with you to the point where they won't attack you, is an easy way to get around the Terrarian summons.
Oh,
gay.
and the love medallion would erase them from existence after 10 seconds. So there's that too.
Yeah, they mobs disappear after 10 seconds when they're affected by the love medallion. There's the corrupted beacon, which is actually just the night beacon. The texture is the exact same. The corrupted beacon that Steve can use in dungeons as a weapon is literally the same thing as the night beacon that froze the sun. He's carrying that around.
So
But
he literally has a sun powered attack. Yeah.
the big one and the thing that the Terrarian does not have any way to get around is everyone's favorite enchantment, Thorns.
Yay! Gilded.
Thorns?
We're talking about Thorns.
Yeah.
Thorns is a legend in our community. So Thorns in base Minecraft only the way it works is it'll send damage taken back to the attacker. In base Minecraft, it only works sometimes and only does 50% of the damage back on melee hits. In Dungeons, Thorns does twice the damage back on all attacks. That includes magic attacks. I've heard some people say that it doesn't work on magic attacks. It does not. We see it work on, for example, like ice attacks in Dungeons. It does work on magic attacks, and it does twice the damage back 100% of the time. It is
200%.
something. What did I say?
You said 100%. It's 200%.
Oh,
He
yes.
said he said something of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It does 200% of the damage back 100% of the time. But yeah, the only way around the Thorns in Dungeons, there's 3 ways around it. Number 1 would be summons, but we already went over how the Love Medallion would be able to counteract that. Number 2 would be explosives, but none of the explosives in Terraria scale to the high-end stuff in Terraria. They don't do significant damage to stuff like the Moonlord. Oh,
Well,
yes?
Noah
Am
has
I wrong
something.
about that?
The explosive weapon Celebration Mark II is the strongest rocket launcher in the game. It is massively rapid fire and is a direct drop from the Moonlord.
Yeah, it's also a
Okay.
ranged gun.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
It
there's
does
also
range damage.
Fires rockets that explode. That
That
sounds
does
like an
range
explosion
damage.
to me.
I'm
They
gonna
do
give you
range damage.
I'm gonna give you
It's an
3
explosive
ways
thing.
Steve gets around that. First, he has a shield which blocks every type of explosive attack in Minecraft, so it blocks every explosion. 2, Steve has this armor called Sturdy Shulker armor, which would reflect projectiles back at the Terrarian. And he has the Totem of Shielding, which literally just destroys any projectiles that hits it. Back
Yeah,
to you,
the important
Javaji.
thing to note about the Celebration Mark II, when I say explosives are the things that bypass thorns, what I mean by that is explosives that are not direct attacks. So we see like TNT, for example. You light TNT, it explodes, it bypasses thorns because it is not a direct attack from an attacker. The Celebration Mark II in Terraria is a ranged weapon that does ranged damage, and thus it would be counted as an actual attack from the Terrarian, and thorns would still activate. The last thing I have to go over, and the last thing that can bypass thorns, is the artifacts in dungeons. And this is the big debunk that I see with thorns is Steve's own artifacts bypass the thorns that the enemies have in dungeons. The thing with the artifacts is they're clearly their own separate kind of thing, because the thorns that enemies have in dungeons is not the same as the ones the player has in dungeons. And similar, like magic attacks, for example, the artifacts give you stuff like summoning lightning or shooting fireballs. But we see those attacks still activate thorns when Steve gets hit by them in dungeons. So clearly the artifacts themselves, the magic that the artifacts hold, are what are bypassing the enemy's thorns, which isn't even the same as Steve's thorns anyway. So Terrarian wouldn't actually have access to any of that. And so his only options would be summons and stuff like bombs, which wouldn't really be like a non-factor in this fight.
Now,
How
the thing is,
enemies, how do they get around Thorn? Because I'm assuming you're not invulnerable permanently when you have Thorns.
yeah,
I
the
was
thing
gonna
with thorns
say-
is you still take the damage. It doesn't
Oh,
like
yes.
deflect it. You still take the damage. The opponent just also takes damage. Which
Okay.
I want to
Wait.
say, even if Steve reflects the damage back at the Terrarian, he's still getting nuked. Like they're both just getting killed. And the
Oh.
AP gap there, if I shoot a galaxy level attack at Steve, who's like planet level or star level or whatever, that is a much, much bigger gap than a 2 times galaxy attack hitting a galaxy level Terrarian.
Well,
Well,
Most
I have an
characters
important
can
question
take
then.
an attack that's twice their AP.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? I hadn't considered that, Noah. I guess Steve would die. It's a good thing Steve has ways to insta revive.
I was gonna say.
There are 2 options here. Number 1, the Totem of Undying, which is from base Minecraft, is an item that Steve can hold and revives him instantly as long as he is holding it, which is great and all, and it's a great item. But Dungeons actually gives us an enchantment far superior to that. And yes, it can be put on the same armor that Thorns can, and that is my good pal, Death Barter. So what Death Barter is, in Minecraft Dungeons, you collect emeralds as you fight enemies, and that's used as the currency in the game. Death Barter is an insta-revive enchantment that spends 50 emeralds in your inventory to revive you immediately. And that's important because we can combine that with the amount of emeralds Steve can gather in base Minecraft. So if we give Steve a shulker box of emerald blocks and give him armor with Death Barter, that gives him, with just 1 inventory slot, 311 insta-revives, which allows him to keep taking hits from the Terrarian that just keep getting sent back to the Terrarian at twice the power and just keep bombarding him with twice the power of his own attacks.
The
And he'll just
Terrarian
survive.
also has infinite revives thanks to
No,
resurrection.
no.
That
Yeah,
passively
Nightfall,
get
you want to take
used.
this?
Yes, I will take
Resurrection
this one.
potions are items that passively get used when you die that return you to life.
Resurrection potions were based on a knockoff version of Terraria in China or you literally had to pay to get.
But it's
Officially
still in the
licensed.
game.
Well,
It's
no,
still
it's
in the
not in
game.
the game. It's
Yeah.
dead. That version
got
of the game
removed.
is dead. It's removed. There's no sign of
It-
them.
The resurrection potions did not get removed from the game. The game got shut down.
They're still
It was still
gone.
in
No,
the game.
There
and it got shut down.
there is a big
It got
difference.
replaced.
Come on.
The game. Okay, the resurrection potions are from the old Chinese version. but the old Chinese version was not just shut down, it was replaced by the new Chinese version. There are
Great
two Chinese
names.
versions of Terraria, and one, yes, they are fantastic. But the newer version of Terraria replaced the older version, meaning that the resurrection potions are no longer, and on top of that, the old Chinese version of Terraria directly contradicts the lore that Noah brought up in his own argument. In Terraria, you fight bosses that are the Eye of Cthulhu. You fight, I can't think of what the other one is, and Skeletron. The Brain of Cthulhu, right? These are all bosses that you fight in Terraria that lead directly into the Moonlord fight. In the old Chinese version of Terraria, those bosses don't exist. They were replaced by similar looking, but not the same bosses. Meaning, not only is the old Chinese version shut down and replaced with a new Chinese version, but also it directly contradicts Terraria lore in the way that we wouldn't even be able to use it.
I have a question, not related to the Chinese stuff. I don't know what's going on there. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
To me, it sounds like, it sounds like that both the Terrarian and Steve have ways to scale pretty high, and both have ways to kill each other, especially with Thorns. But even with Thorns, the Terrarian would still be hurting Steve, because I know that you still take damage when you have Thorns. So my real thing is, because you brought up the resurrection stuff for Steve, but I do know that in Terraria, there is a limit to how much you can heal. There's like a potion debuff thing.
Oh yes, there is. But not the case for Minecraft Dungeons, where Steve has unlimited healing potions. They're on a cooldown. But
they are on a cooldown. Okay.
Yeah, 30-second cooldown, which he can lower with other status effects. So Steve has unlimited potions. He has satchels that gives him unlimited food and unlimited burying potions. So not just healing, he also has speed and resistance and all that. Steve can also bypass Terrarian's best armor with the Wither Potion, which is exclusive to Bedrock, or Poison, which would also bypass it. And he also has a Poison Scythe, which would make Terrarian, and I quote, if we're using tooltips, sick for decades, or sick for like a long amount of time. So
can we bring up Shield?
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, Noah.
Stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the poison and wither stuff. No. This is an item you have in Terraria called the Ankh Shield, which it makes you immune to basically every debuff you can imagine. Obviously, Wither is not on this list because there's nothing in Terraria called the Wither, but it protects you from being weakened, from being poisoned, from having your armor like broken off, from being petrified. So I think whatever you could justify the Wither effect as being would be in this list. Like, it's not going to be called the Wither effect, obviously, but the symptoms of it would be on here. So any kind of debuff like that is not working here.
So wait,
I think it's fair to say. Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. So, okay, because you brought up the immunities. What about, does Steve have immunities?
Milk. Steve can remove.
Well, but Steve has to take the time to drink the milk.
Milk.
Literally.
Okay, but you can
just,
still drink it.
Does Steve have anything that can stop it? Milk.
Milk.
Stupid.
Boo.
Yeah, I'm Terrarian. I got this cool shield that blocks everything. Steve, milk. But we have to talk about, since this is a shield, Ankh shield, he can hold it. Steve has an enchantment for axes known as cleaving, which would deactivate shields, at least for a second, which would leave Terrarian open.
The thing with cleaving, the way cleaving works, the flavor is like it knocks the shield away. Well, it leaves you open. The Ankh shield doesn't have to be like actively up and blocking to grant immunity as long as you have it, like with you, you're immune. Because there are some debuffs that just wouldn't make sense if you were to block them, like chilling. you go into cold water, you get cold. The Yonk Seal protects you from that. That's obviously not something you're blocking with it. Or like you walk on hot blocks and you take damage from walking on a hot surface. The Yonk Shield protects you from that. And again, you're not blocking the floor. As long as you have the shield on you, it protects you. It's not the sort of thing where like you like push it out of the way. That wouldn't get rid of the debuff immunity.
Oh yeah,
That's
like it's
fair.
like equipment on like the little thing. You just equip
Yes,
it.
it
And now
is.
it's
Yeah,
always
you
active.
just have it equipped.
Steve
Oh,
does
okay, yeah,
have
yeah.
durability bypassing attacks such as piercing arrows, and the corrupted beacon just bypasses armor because it's
I have to
magic.
plug in my laptop.
But yeah. Also, there's a comment I want to point out from Akira Yamaguchi. Crossovers could definitely be taken into account for both sides, and it could be like an Among Us versus Fall Guys thing. And we could probably go into that if we have time. I don't think we will. But we're looking at base stuff or canon stuff, I guess, for right now.
I'm a little curious. We've talked a lot about Steve, and we've talked a lot about the Terrarian too. But the Terrarian has a huge kit. There's tons of equipment. So something I'm curious about is not to throw anyone off the rhythm here, but like Terrarian hacks.
Yeah, Terrarian has a lot of different weapons. They can do a lot of different things. They can obviously like all different swords and guns and magic spells. They're also really mobile. They have flight that's a lot better than what Elytra Wings can give Steve. They can teleport. They have all sorts of buffs. They can open portals. They can make summons. They can make electrical fields that ignore durability. They have poison attacks. They what are some other examples? They have like extra dimensional storage areas. They have a lot.
I want to. Oh, did you have something?
No, it's not that important. You go ahead.
Okay. I want to also bring up summons. Steve outclasses the Terrarian in summons because in Minecraft Dungeons you can make multiple summons with already pre-built Iron Golem kits, wraiths, vexes, enchanted sheep, but the indestructible pig, that makes shockwaves and stuff. And in Legends, he can summon up to at least, at minimum, 40 enemies to fight with him at a time. Zombies, creepers, skeletons, golems of all different elements. He has 2 allays, one that can build and one that brings him resources. And what else am I forgetting? Oh yeah, it can get past Terry's corruption. I know you didn't bring up corruption, Noah, but I'm already saying one of the allies can get rid of netherite corruption from not netherite, netherrack corruption. When the piglins come through, it transmutes it back into grass. So yeah, there's that.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning that Legends, like the whole point of Legends is you're building an army. And so Steve not only gets all his dungeon summons on top of, I guess, like a whole army of dogs, if you wanted to include the base Minecraft stuff, but also a whole army of those enemies from Legends as well.
Okay. Is there anything else either of us really wanted to talk about? We've been going for a little over an hour at this point.
Yes.
Nightfall, do you want to pull up the super fast fire rate bow?
Yeah, sure. If you could pull up Sherm, what do I call it? I think I just call it rapid fire real quick. We just want to point out that Steve also has weapons that can compete with the Terrarian on a similar level of speed. This isn't even the best one. And Steve can do this with regular bows, so he's literally pulling his arm fast enough to do this. And he has crossbows. The best one being auto crossbow. And now we get into the last thing that I want to cover for the base stuff, or the canon stuff. Sherm, could you pull up multi-scaling 1, please?
The poll in chat has concluded the Terrarian should get resurrection potions.
Chat,
Okay.
I'm disappointed in you.
Chat, this is
Um,
the second time a poll has disappointed me. Okay, the first one was when most of you said that Steve's pants were blue. Like, what? Chat. I'm gonna crush your ball.
okay. So this is where things get interesting. So we talked about how Steve scales to the Vengeful Heart. We talked. I want to make this clear. If you think that the tooltips count, if you think Terry can hit with the power of a galaxy for some reason, Steve scales to the Vengeful Heart of Ender, who is stated here. It just needed more power, which is what its final form is, so it could destroy all dimensions and be rid of its enemies. To
Not
think
yet,
that
sir.
yeah, pull the
Anyway.
poll up while I'm talking
Not yet,
about this.
Sherm. Not
Oh, yeah,
yet.
not yet,
Not
not
yet.
yet.
Not yet, Sherm.
So it could destroy all dimensions to rid of its enemies. To think that once it wanted to rule that world, the world being the overworld, through such
Yeah.
an outcast, the heroes they are here, it has to hurry with its plan. Multi-scaling too.
No,
I'm not done yet. Multi-scaling too. We have not one but two statements of multi-scaling. Its arrogance eventually came to head when its desires of revenge revealed to the world that it survived and had been reborn and currently residing in the endless void between worlds, no longer wishing to rule the overworld in favor of enacting revenge by destroying all dimensions. That's
Yeah.
the Nether,
Mhm.
overworld, and
The Nether.
and whatever the
Mhm.
Warden's
Can I-
world is, because Minecraft Dungeons 2 was leaked.
Yep, cool.
Uh,
Yeah, these don't exist. I looked into this. These statements are on the Minecraft wiki and the Villains wiki, and they're all but they're wikis. They do not exist. There is no source for them. These are never said anywhere in the games. The wiki writers just made it up.
I
This
wouldn't say
comes
that.
from nowhere.
I wouldn't say that because we've also talked, you know this, we've talked to multiple people in the Minecraft Dungeons community on the official Minecraft server, and they said, yeah, that sounds familiar. Yeah, that
But then
happened.
even they couldn't find it. We've
but-
talked to so many people. No one knows where this comes from.
Yeah, but
It's
it's
just the
everywhere.
wikis.
Like, this is so consistent, it has to exist somewhere.
All right,
I don't think that's how it works.
Shit from then?
I don't think that's
Okay.
how it works.
Before we get to the poll, pull up Smashy Bros 1.
Oh my god.
What?
It amuses me that Minecraft has lost media.
So as you can see here, these are
Oh,
the first
fuck
two
no.
tier
No,
lists.
no. We're not doing
He's
this.
comparable and
Fuck
kind
off.
of Joker.
We're not
All
doing
right,
this.
buddy boys. All right.
Yeah,
Put me on-
and I-
put me on
so not
full
only does
blast.
Steve
It's
defeat
my time
Darkon,
to shine. Okay, let's do
Okay.
this.
God damn it.
so you see here, Steve is top tier, and he made people rage quit so bad that a bunch of 30-year-old men started yelling at 16-year-old kids in tournaments. So that's outerversal, obviously.
No, it is not.
But
He also is comparable to Joker, who is also an S+ tier. And as we all remember from the Akechi versus Oberon and Tifa versus Makoto cast, please watch it. I am desperate. Persona is the collective unconscious exists within. Okay, I'm not gonna go.
also, Steve
But
scales to actual
SMT
Sephiroth. Like, I'm not
This
joking
is-
about that.
This is a cheap tactic. I thought.
Yeah,
you.
this is
Like, oh
super
wait,
cheap.
This is
yeah.
why. This is why.
You
I
can
have
do the
my own
poll now.
cheap tactic I can pull out.
No, we got one more cheat tactic if you're gonna pull one out. But we can
No, I
do
want
the
to see
poll.
Terraria's tactic first. Hang on.
Right. So you two have been double teaming me a lot this whole time.
I was gonna say.
They sure have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we pull up counter some?
Huh? Okay.
God damn.
That's awesome.
No.
Yeah. Okay, now for
Okay,
the
you have
final.
to, Nightfall. You
Yeah,
have to do
We're
it.
pulling the
You have to do
leverage.
it now.
Sherm, checkmate,
to.
please. Checkmate.
Yes, pull up checkmate, Sherm.
Pull up
Pull it
checkmate.
up. If we're doing this, you're gonna go this low. We're doing this now. Noah agrees with every fan battle conclusion, including the one where Steve beat the Terrarian.
Oh yeah, don't forget Minecraft versus Terraria fan battle out now.
It
Okay,
came out
Yay,
like
it's out
6
in
months
case you
ago.
didn't see it 3 months ago when it came out. In
And
case you
for the
forgot.
record, for the record, that statement made by me is now outdated. That was from last year. Things have changed a lot since then. But yes, we have one for Noah as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, so we can get the poll up.
Yeah. In conclusion, Tooltips are bunk. Thorns is busted.
Steve got banned in Smash.
Yep. There were 2 sons also as well. Throw that out there.
Multi-scaling is definitely real. Also in the novels of inconsistent canonicity, the Ender Dragon said they're the infinite lightning lizard and that they eat galaxies, and I'm not joking about that.
Infinite lightning lizard.
The
That is
Yeah,
novels,
I think
the developers have specifically stated only the Dungeons prequel novel is canon, so it's not a matter of dubious canonicity. They have explicitly not canon.
right.
Damn it.
Damn.
I think it's worth saying just for the sake of it, just to wrap up our argument here, that the multi-scaling we don't buy that. We just threw that out here for the sake of bringing it up. What we do believe is that
If you
Steve
can
is
find it,
star level.
please.
Yeah, if you can find it, send it our way, please. But we believe that Steve is star level and that the Terrarian is large planet because Tooltips they have too many instances of exaggeration to be a reliable narrator. And the fan battle agreed with that as well, which Noah apparently agreed with. I'm just saying.
We also want to state that we've had these like scalings and arguments even before the fan battle came out, so we're not just writing off the fan battle like, oh, the fan battle said it, so it must be right. No, we've had this on lock before that.
We were credited in the fan battle.
Yeah, go back and check. We're in there. We're famous.
Like it was our debates that aided that fan battle. So we're not just like going off of what they say. Like this is what we genuinely believe.
Sante, I see that in the chat.
I hear that those fan battle guys are all biased and rigged.
True though. True.
True.
Sante, I see that in the chat. You're not like.
Anyways, fan battle, please do comment writer. Please do comment writer. I will help.
Please do Rockyo Lusamine fan battle.
Please do
Someone
shit
say
versus
something.
Scotland versus Kamen Rider Cross the. I will actually give you my firstborn child for that.
I don't want your firstborn child.
I will make a child and give it to you.
Anyways, concluding arguments. Yeah. As chat has voted, both of them have these revives, so those kind of cancel out. And I think at that point, yeah, the Terrarian, even without tooltips, has stuff like the Dungeon Defenders thing. Even if you don't buy like the Moonlord, Universal, or whatever, Dungeon Defenders is physically the Dryad goes and fights galaxy stuff, and Terrarian fight Tier 1's army, all that stuff, is more than enough power to just nuke Steve. And Terrarian is fast enough to go first. They have the durability bypassing lightning field I mentioned, which would just completely.
Oh, I didn't even get into that. Steve can counter that. Steve has copper, the lightning rod. Steve can just place down a lightning rod and then bam, over.
Sure. But yeah, no, Terrarian is just strong enough, fast enough, just nukes Steve. And then they both do have Resurrect Potions and the Totem, Death Rod, all that stuff, but it balances out, and yeah, I don't think Steve can come back from the overwhelming firepower that the Terrarian has.
Okay, do you want to do the conclusion, guys, or?
Okay.
Who's
sure.
the debater here?
I'm the
I'm saying,
debater. I'm
bro.
just trying to
Yeah,
be nice.
you do it.
Okay,
You do
fine.
it.
Steve is much stronger, has better defense. I didn't even go over every single defensive option Steve has, but actually, let me list them out. That's my conclusion right here. I got the list pulled up, buddy.
Just pulling out a massive scroll and just like, well, you got this one and this one. Oh, you can't forget this one. This
We
one.
didn't even mention God Apples, but God Apples surpass anything that the Terrarian has in terms of defensive stats. Yes, even the Ankh Shield. He has passive regeneration. He has unlimited regeneration potions, armor, and stat boost. Emerald Shield, which also is an enchantment that can go on with Emerald with Death Barter and stuff. Emerald Shield gives Steve temporary invulnerability. He can go intangible. He can go invisible. He has attack and damage reflection, unlimited food, regeneration via artifacts as well as enchantments and armor. He can attack souls. I didn't even bring that up. He has multiple weapons that can attack souls, and from what I remember, Terrarian crafted like souls into his best armor, and Steve has a enchant that can literally just suck them out. So he can literally take away Terry's power if he needs to.
These souls are not in the best stuff. The souls are in like the mid tier stuff.
Well, if he's
I
wearing
guess it's
mid tier
worth-
stuff, he's screwed, I guess.
Alright, if he just decided that Steve's not worth the trouble of the high tier stuff and just shows up with like his dollar store as fit,
That's why
then he could get his shacks robbed from him, I guess.
Oh, okay, but my conclusion to this is Steve is stronger, has better survivability, has ways around the Terrarian speed, has enough enemies that he can continue calling upon for his aid to keep the Terrarian busy long enough to where he can get those hits in that he needs. Thorns would literally just kill him because it doubles all of Terrarian's attacks. So even if he's universal or galaxy level or whatever, that would be double galaxy or double universal level of attack potency that he would not survive. So
Okay,
Yeah.
Nightfall, I do have one question for you. Is one of Steve's summons a chicken jockey?
Chicken jacket.
Jockey.
Well, he can summon chickens, and he can in his Legends army have zombies. So he could make one. He could craft one, if you will.
You can craft a happy ghast for some reason.
That's true.
He can just make a baby.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, from the souls of dead ghast, you can make a baby.
Steve's a mother? Yo, imagine just showing up to your first day of school. Someone asks, "Hey, what's your mom's name?" And you just say, "Steve." My mom
Chat,
is Steve.
Sherman Chat is saying he doesn't know if Kaz should get a vote.
Oh,
Guys, you should have used a
my vote
burner.
might surprise you if I'm being honest with you.
You didn't pull the whole.
But I
line.
will say this. I will say this. For the sake of this, I came into this cast and I consulted with Noah and Nightfall before coming to this. That I
Okay, no,
actually didn't.
don't word it like that. That makes it sound like we rigged all this. We chatted to be like, oh
like
yeah, it'll be a good
I
time."
talked to you guys. I talked to you
Yes.
guys like human beings and said I don't know who wins. And originally I was going to be the main debater, but I asked Nightfall to do it because frankly I didn't know who won, and it was up to them to convince me. But Nightfall and I share the burden of debating Steve in on the Discord server, so I figured the two of us should do it together. But if you don't want to give me a vote, totally fine with that. But I did come into this with the express purpose of being convinced by somebody, and I was convinced by somebody.
Okay, chat, what do we think? And by chat, I mean you three, because I don't want to do another poll.
Well,
Okay.
Hey, we'll go
you can
through like
first.
the other jury votes first, at least.
Yeah. I'll do my jury vote last. So I'll let you go first.
Oh shit. Well, hang on. Let me sit up. I'm still. My brain is, because I know Vermiller. I think Vermiller was taking notes, and I wish I was taking notes because my brain is like, yeah, you made the right call, because my brain is still reeling on some of the stuff that was happening. Like I'm still stuck on the 2 something, honestly.
That's where you're drawing the line. The sun got turned.
I'm not
into
drawing the
moon.
line. I'm not drawing the line. It's just my brain is still can't believe that's a thing. Okay. If I'm being honest, I think I'm going to go. I'm gonna go with the Terrarian. 1, because of speed, because I do think speed matters here. And 2, something that I don't think was really brought up is I think the Terrarian has more inventory space than Minecraft.
For this debate, we'd give them everything though, so inventory wouldn't be a huge thing.
Well, you did mention the whole emerald thing, so you did talk about inventory then. So
Yeah.
Oh, and I will say the resurrection potions do stack like a lot higher than the emerald despot or whatever. It's continue.
True. And that was another thing too, that even if we did give them everything, who can hold more of everything?
Okay, that's
So I
reasonable.
think I'm gonna give it to the Terrarian. Also, I don't buy into not giving him the tooltips personally.
All right, Vami, you can go next.
Well, I want to point out that Noah did all the calcs, and you guys have been doing him so dirty. All the time, you shut him down as soon as he brought anything up. But that said, I think I'm with Molak on this. I'm going with the Terrarian. The way I see it, he seems faster, seems stronger, and the hacks seems fairly even. It's there's a lot, so it's difficult. But all in all, I think I'm gonna have to go with the Terrarian because all of his stuff seems more passive, less active. Yeah, I'm going with Terrarian.
And like even then, like we brought up the milk stuff before. As funny as it is, he does still have to take time to drink the milk.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I guess I should make my vote, and I vote for Steve. Okay. So yes, the Terrarian should be faster, but I think Steve is stronger to the point he should be stonewalling like basically every single attack the Terrarian can throw out. And throw on top of that how powerful Thorns are. Meaning that basically every single attack the Terrarian is throwing out is going to be doing like basically nothing to Steve, while the Terrarian is actually going to be taking more damage in the end. Meaning that the Terrarian is going to have to rely more on like potions or hacks or status effects or whatever, which Steve has answers for. And with stuff like the vines or whatever, he can even keep the Terrarian in place long enough in order to deal a finishing blow. While yes, both do have revives, Steve, from what I can tell, Steve has more of them, and they seem. And while yes, the Terrarian's revives are a little more passive, Steve just has so many more that it doesn't even matter. And Steve can even close the speed gap with potions like slowness and on the Terrarian and swiftness on himself. So he could get to the point where he can deal finishing blow and deal enough finishing blows to the point where the Terrarian doesn't have any more revives and everything, and then it'll just be over from there. So yeah, I think Steve is the winner.
Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Let's wrap up the chat poll, please.
Yeah, from what I can tell, Steve won that.
Chicken jockey.
Yes, by one vote, I believe, Steve wins the chat poll, which means we are now
It wasn't just one vote. It wasn't one vote.
It wasn't?
It's 52 to 47.
With 23
What?
votes.
Oh, the percent.
Oh. I don't do
that's
math.
percentages,
That's you.
not. Anyways, so we are now tied. Tell you what, I'm gonna trust what you have said. Kaj, I'd like you to be the tiebreaker here.
Oh no.
Boy.
Ooh. And
Okay.
he's done. And he died. He
He's
couldn't take up
gone. He
pressure
left.
anymore.
Hello.
Sure, what did you do to him?
He took his place.
Where'd he
my
go?
God.
I banished him.
Sure.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't care what Kaja has to say.
What's mean?
I was watching this whole thing and I was like, the sanctity of a fan battle cast is it's a 1v1. And I stretch the rules every now and again. But I'm gonna be honest, I think you took it too far. I think I get to vote in his place is what I'm saying.
Oh.
But you have bias. I saw it in the chat.
I don't have bias, I have an opinion.
I mean, hey,
Yeah.
they've called in Liam's mom as a tiebreaker before on Death Battle Cast, so like,
True.
My
Wait, should I
vote.
just get my mom in here and it's just like, hey, mom,
No.
okay, so who do you think wins between Steve and the Terrarian? And she just say, what the fuck is a Terraria?
No, if you know any little kid, if you know like a kid or something, get a kid. The kid would know.
let's not.
The
Anyways,
youngest
so-
thing I have
I
in my
think-
house is my dog. And I don't think
Oh.
he understands the concept of Minecraft.
I'm not sure if your
Trust
dog
me,
is
I've been
good for a
trying.
reliable vote.
Who wins? Steve Terrarian. Oof.
My
that
vote.
sounds like a Minecraft wolf
Oh.
noise.
Based on
Maybe
the
there's
fact
wisdom in
that the
that.
chat says Terrarian gets res potions, which seems like that equals that out. I think that the moon god scaling, from what I understand, does actually have some potential to either equal or be higher than the Steve scaling, which makes me think the Terrarian, which I'm surprised by because I thought Steve was going to win. I do actually think the Terrarian has a better chance of winning than not, and the Terrarian gets my vote.
All right.
And that's that. I wasn't paying attention to how many votes each person got. I think, did I just break the tie with that?
Yes, you did. That's
All
it.
right. And now I must. My people need me.
Hey, can we like? Can
I
we
have to go
no,
now.
Yeah, can we
My
put
plan
God
is-
back
Mud's
in
back.
it? Oh, hey, hey there, buddy.
Okay,
Guys,
Calvin.
I saw the other side. I saw I saw the nether. I saw the underworld. It was
The
terrifying.
Nether.
Cut it
Um,
out. I'm sick of it.
I'd like
Water
I'd
bucket.
like to say
Release!
what my vote was going to be without it being on the record, if that's all right.
Sure, why
Yeah,
not?
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm sorry if I went too far. Nightfall and I, I'm as far as I know, no one knew that I was jumping in here.
I was expecting this. Don't worry. I was expecting this to happen.
But I totally understand not giving me a vote. Here's the funny thing, though, is that originally I was going to be voting Steve, but the problem is that the chat voted to use res potions. And since I respect what the chat and the audience has to say, I was going to vote Terrarian. Because
This
I
is
do
a-
not think Steve can win if res potions get used. I don't think they should be used, but since the chat voted to, I was going to be voting the Terrarian.
This is a
Yeah.
ploy by Big China to
I'm-
use the res potions.
This is-
we didn't even get Minecraft China. That would totally change everything.
I guess
Yeah,
I
China's
guess
really
Minecraft gets China
Um,
scaling?
I might as well be
Minecraft is
honest as
China
well.
scaling.
I do still stand by the old verdict I had. I do still believe Steve wins. I'll be blunt there.
And then, yeah, if you leave out resurrection potions, which I don't think they should be used, I would be voting Steve. But with potions, it's got to be Terry.
Okay.
If you want to know why I think Steve wins, make sure to check out the Steve versus
fan
Terrarian
battle.
fan battle.
It's
Link
out
in
now, guys.
description.
It just came
It's out
out.
now.
Now.
But yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Why feel felt? Kaz, you were the pitcher. Do you want to do that?
Oh, what an honor. Yeah, I pitched this matchup to Ben and Chad early February. It's my most wanted matchup. I think it's undoubtedly like Minecraft is overdue to be on Death Battle. It's the highest, it's the best-selling video game of all time. Like it needs to be on the show at some point. And Terraria is the 7th best-selling game of all time. So, and also, if you want to exclude Minecraft as an indie game, it's the best-selling indie game of all time. But it depends on if you count Minecraft as indie. Point here is that these are the two most successful indie games of all time, at least at one point. Why is there an
Enderman?
Enderman on my screen?
Enderman.
Ender Pearl.
What is this? Why is
Oh,
this
this
here?
is. Oh, I think this is talking about the statement of them like destroying all dimensions.
Dimensions.
But
Yeah,
they're
wait,
doing
yeah,
it
Oh
guys,
my
it
God.
destroys dimensions. I win.
very slowly. They do it very slowly.
They just want to make sure that the dimension is actually destroyed, so they're making sure to do it brick by brick. Okay, I respect the hustle.
Brick by brick.
Yeah, that's hard work.
This is the overworld. Here, you can make anything, so long as it's made out of blocks.
Pink house.
Knitted steel.
Pink house.
Steel.
Gilded
Chicken
Figure.
jockey.
Minecraft Education Edition would also be included. There's nothing going against it. It just doesn't give Steve much, other than the fact he can hold uranium in his hand, so he could give Terry cancer, I guess.
No. I remember there was
The
one point.
cancer win
The Discord thread at one point. I think it was something like Terrarian has weapons to give off solar radiation, and then it was like, no, Steve resists radiation because he can hold uranium. Was I think what happened.
Redstone is also partially radioactive, so there's that too.
Oh,
But yeah,
Should
but he
I-
also has freezing bombs and BFR balloons that just yeets people into the atmosphere and makes them not exist anymore at a certain altitude. So there's that. Oh.
Should I
Hey,
finish
wait.
my?
Yeah.
I just have one more
Yeah.
question. In Educational Edition, is it possible to eat the uranium? It has a lot of calories in it. It's got a lot of protein. Steve is just trying to gain max here.
I don't think so, but it would be
He's-
funny.
He's just trying to bulk. Okay, but Kedra, go back to your thing.
Yeah. Basically, my point at the end of the day, to anybody watching who might not quite be sold on this matchup, even if we want to say that Steve's scaling is bunk, even if we want to say the sun really didn't freeze and he's only like mountain level, I think what we forget about Death Battle and what I love so much and why I'm always excited for any matchup, no matter what, is that they can make an amazing fight out of anything. And in this particular case, even if Steve's scaling wasn't accepted, which I think it should be, even if you didn't want to accept it, their arsenals are what make this fight so much fun. The two of them have such specific counters to each other and so many like cool weapons and armor and magic items and hacks to use that this fight would be undeniably brilliant. And these are the only characters that can reasonably go up against each other and make an incredible fight.
I think it's also worth mentioning that this fight really doesn't take that much of an explanation. You see it and you go, ah, that makes sense. It's
Yeah,
a very
for sure.
natural match.
Yeah. And then, yeah, it could have a really cool hybrid animation. I always like the idea of a 3D model versus a 2D sprite. I think would be really cool to see them visualize that. It's something unique that like only this matchup could pull off. And I think it would be exceptional.
Would you then make the joke of like shifting so that the Terrarian becomes flat and Steve can't see him anymore? Because like you would have the 2D and then just swap the perspective.
So it's
Well,
just like
you
the
can
Super
see
Paper
Mr.
Mario
Game and
thing.
Watch, so
That's true. Steve can see Game and Watch. We actually do see the Terrarian from the front and back. A lot of people like to say that we only ever see the Terrarian from the side, which is true in game, but promotional artwork has shown him from the front and back many times.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah.
I love this fight. I love this matchup so much. I'm so honored to have been here. I'm sorry if I ruffled some feathers by joining in with Nightfall here, but I really loved being here, and I love getting to pitch this matchup. It's always an honor to be a part of this matchup, and I'm glad that I could at least help do it justice.
It's a great matchup. I love it.
it's peak.
Yeah,
It's
it was really
absolutely
enjoyable. I thought this was a pretty fun cast. Either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry for jumping you, Noah, even though you knew it
No,
was
it's
coming.
fine. It was funny. Mahito versus Shigaraki GIF. Go. But yeah, thank you for having me here again. My undefeated streak continues. I'm now 3-0 on here.
Okay, I'm gonna have to schedule a cast against you, Noah, just to destroy your winning streak.
Oh, actually, I,
Yours
I have a
becoming
win
the
streak
Liam.
too.
What?
What?
Someone say something?
Huh?
Am I imagining things?
Chicken jockey.
Is the brain rot finally getting to me?
Steal.
No.
Noah Green versus Leon Swan, who will sweep more.
Hey. Why is the stream just a picture of the Terraria wiki right now? Oh, we're back. Never mind. Continue.
What just happened? Did I not see that?
I looked over at this. I looked
I
over
looked
at the
at the
stream. It
stream,
was a picture
too.
of the Terraria wiki.
I saw it too. Don't worry.
Anyways, But yeah, thank you all for coming. We probably should be heading out. We've been yapping for a while. I had a fun time. I hope you guys did as well. And
Yeah,
I will
I
see
did.
you all next time.
Yeah.
Terracraft
Bye,
for
everyone.
life.
Watch Common Rider. Bye.
Bye.
Toodles.